Hello, I'm Astahan from We Dance, and today I will introduce you Sabou, a dancer, teacher, and a self-confidence coach who is currently in the Netherlands. How did your dance journey start, Sabou?
I think I started like maybe 15, 16 years ago, but I was really much driven into hip hop. I did 10 years of hip hop, then I went to dance hall and house because I think like hip hop and house are more like I love footwork. Just so you know, I really love the footwork. And I think it was, I started dancing because it helped me like kind of like release that energy, release everything. And I think it was more to explore my personality. I'm kind of like a tomboy-ish attitude, and I think that at that time hip hop was really suiting me. And then I drifted a bit to house dance because I felt like the hip hop scene, let's say, was becoming a bit more commercial, and like the whole hip hop new style appeared and everything, and I wasn't really connecting with the style anymore. I really prefer like old school type of stuff. And really I was using dance for to just like hype myself up, to get to know a bit more of myself, of my body, and just try new things, because I felt like dancing was really more the kind of discipline that was fitting my body. And then I started to listen to a bit more of house music. And when I saw that it was very light, very bouncy, a lot of footwork, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go there. And I just took as many classes as I could. And I did this in Paris. So I went to the Juste Debout school, and I
Nice.
trained, and I trained a lot with the serial steppers. So I took all the classes that I could from Capella, Babson, Mamson, Yuxon, everyone. And I really, really loved it, especially Capella and Mamson's energy, their footwork, and also the fact that they were still, very light, the way they danced, the lightness in their feet, the lightness in their dance, the way they connected to the music. For me, it was really like everything, and just seeing them having fun was really something that I was looking forward to. Because when I was dancing hip hop, I felt like it was becoming a bit too serious. So maybe also like from the teachers that I had, it was becoming way too structured, way like, okay, like in the ego part of it. And for that, I really didn't connect with it anymore. And I thought, okay, let me just try something else. And then when I went to university, I discovered dance hall, and the energy of dance hall and the music helped me connect a bit more with my, let's say, soft side, a bit more feminine, and I really enjoyed it. I also gave a few classes when I was still in Paris. And then when I went to Finland, because I had to do an Erasmus exchange, so my student exchange was in Finland, yeah, from all the places. This is where I discovered Afro, and actually it was like more traditional Ghanaian Afro dances. Because I met this guy named Francis. If you listen to us, he introduced me to the more traditional aspect of it. And so after that, I went into like rabbit hole of just finding out about the dance, finding out about the music. And then I started listening to more what people call Afrobeats music, but I would say more, Afro pop, Niger fusion music. And I discovered Home Bros, Uncle Tissy and Curtis, the way they were dancing. And then I just, again, a rabbit hole, and started just experimenting home, watching videos, and just repeating the moves without trying to understand too much what I was doing or connecting too much with the culture or anything. But then when I moved to Amsterdam, it's been 6 years now, and I originally moved for an internship. And then I saw that the culture here, the culture of Afro was like everywhere. A lot of different classes, a lot of dancers, a lot of teachers. So for me, it was the opportunity to just connect even more. The more classes that I took, the more opportunities I had to also travel. Went to Portugal a few times to learn more about Afro House, Kuduro. And then in 2018, yeah, I had the opportunity to start teaching. I subbed for Suela's classes, Suela Wilsterman, and I danced a lot with her. Like I took all of her classes. She also gave me opportunities to dance with her for different events, for different shows. And I'm super, super grateful for her and for everything she taught me, you know. And after that, I was like, oh, actually, I like teaching. I like connecting with people. I like, you know, just, yeah, sharing and exchanging and seeing what's out there, how people are reacting as well, how people are connecting with the music, with the grooves, the steps, and how, you know, it just makes them feel. Because for me, like now, Afro music and Afro dances are where I feel like I'm able to express myself to the fullest. And how, yeah, I'm way more connected to the African culture now that I am to the hip hop or dance hall.
So what I got from you, it was really important to meet the right people and
Yeah,
to connect with the people you
yeah,
learn from and
yeah,
dance with.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. More than the steps and the grooves, like there's this whole part where I obviously need to understand the culture. For me, it's very important. And I wasn't really looking towards teaching or something like this. It just really happened, and then I was like, oh, this could be something, you know. But for me, it's very important to understand, you know, the culture, to understand the dance, the music associated to it, why we dance it this way, where it comes from, what kind of intentions we there is, and why we need to do it a certain way. And of course, like from one body to another, it's always going to be different, and I think that's the beauty of dancing. But it's also more for me, like it's not my culture per se, so I need to understand it and make sure that I you know, connect with it the proper way, even though I know that it's never going to be 100% because I still didn't go to Africa yet, and this is on my to-do list. Like this is on my bucket list to just go and experience it there and really learn from the source, because I think that's also going to give me another you know, another chance to understand and connect even more, and try to bring that also to people here in Europe and here in Netherlands, just so that my students understand better, you know. Especially when it's something that is not yours. I think this is our obligation, to do it this way and really learn how to understand and appreciate a culture that is not yours, rather than just use it and, you know, spread it on social media and everything, and just, you know, and it doesn't become, or it doesn't show up as right. So yeah, for me, this is very important.
So you also traveled a lot. Is there any
Yeah.
difference between like France, Netherlands, Turkey, or anywhere you
Oh,
go?
very good question. I think everyone is very much into, you know, super open to learn from all the places that I went to, but I also feel like there's a whole ego, there's a lot of ego that is coming in, as in we're not properly respecting kind of like the, or like it's not respecting, but like kind of using the dance and the music as like a trend, more than really using it to understand and to connect to the culture first and to the music, but also to yourself as a dancer. I just feel like it's still very much on the surface, and that people sometimes are dancing or showing off stuff just to, I don't know, get likes or comments or views or whatever. And this is my perception, and this is not something that I really like. Yeah, I'm trying not to do that in my classes. For me, dancing again is really much more about connecting, exchanging, especially with Afro, dancehall, hip hop. Those are like social dances. And for me, it's like, it's really important that it becomes a conversation, you know, that you do ciphers and battles and stuff just for the only sake and the only purpose of like, hey, let me just, I want to see who you are, you know, I want to see who you are, who you stand for as a person, who you stand for as a dancer, how, you know, you connect with the music, how the music is making you feel, rather than, oh, I'm here to show off and battle, and like, oh, it becomes all of a sudden super aggressive, and then it's all about the ego, you know what I mean? And I don't battle myself. I think I'm not ready yet. And also I'm very sensitive to the vibe that is around me. And I've watched a lot of different battles within Afro or hip hop, and it's, for me, it always feels like it's like super, super aggressive, you know? And in house, for example, with house, it's so different. House dancers have this capacity to just okay, I'm gonna, I'm gonna invite you, I'm gonna exchange with you, I'm just gonna, again, like invite you to have a conversation with me. I want to see who you are. I'm genuinely interested in how you interpret the music, and I really want to make sure that within my classes, it's also the same, like just free your body, dance. The sole purpose of dance for me is just to really express yourself, express what's in your heart, and with your body, like sometimes you don't find the words, and for me, like sometimes I don't find the words to write or whatever, so I just listen to the music and I just go ballers. It's dancing is movement. It's like it's so freeing to be able to do that with your body. And I wish that during battles or something like this, people would do more of that, more of like exchanging and connecting and expressing and sharing, rather than, oh, I'm here for the show, or yeah, for the ego part of it.
You actually do a lot of motivational talking on your
Yeah.
Instagram, for example, when you post something. But I also think you have classes actually on like self-esteem or
Yeah, and so
motivation. Where
more
does
com-
it come from? How did you start doing that?
it's a question that I also asked myself this week when I was in Portugal, because I was like, okay, but when was the breaking point where I was like, oh, I'm going to use dance as a vector. To be honest, if I look at the last 2 years and a half where I went full on dancing and teaching and stuff, the first year was really more about like spreading the culture, sharing it, because I love Afro dances and I really want to make sure that as many people, as many dancers and students get access to it. It's not so much about like ego or something, or I know everything. No, I'm still a student, and I'm still learning from so many different people, and it's going to be like the same my whole life. But it was more like I love the dance and the culture so much that I want to make sure that everybody get access to it, like physical classes, online classes, and then from all types of background, not just like, because I also had this struggle. I'm going to be super honest. When I started doing Afro dances, like now I'm tan and stuff, but like originally, like my parents are from Tunisia and Egypt, but I'm born in France. So I have this. I was raised the Arab way, but but people see me as like a white person. So I got a lot of comments like, yeah, but who the fuck you think you are? Like you're white, you're teaching Afro, or like, oh, you dance well for a white person. You know what I mean? So when I started, there was kind of like a whole, I have to prove something and whatever, and I'm like, you know what, I don't have to prove nothing to anyone. If this culture speaks to me, then I'm going to make sure that I drill it, I understand it, I learn how to appreciate it, and just make sure that I help other students and other people do the same. And that it's not about like where you come from or the color of your skin or whatever. It's like how much you love something, and if you love something that much, then just go and again rabbit hole, learn, study, and it's also if I want to be sharing it, I'm going to be sharing it because there's space for everyone, right? And the first year I felt like it was my kind of goal to spread the culture as much as I can. The second year with COVID, kind of like, okay, what am I doing really with dancing? What does dancing mean for me? And when I actually started dancing because I had a lot of troubles with accepting myself, my personality, my body. Like I didn't have the confidence that I have today. And so I thought, okay, let me just try to share that as well, and use really dance as like, again, a way of helping people feel a bit more empowered with their bodies. Because I feel like if you can do anything with your body, like when you constantly are in motion with your body, it's like a reflection of being constantly in motion with your life. So if you can do it with your body, you can definitely do it with anything in life. So I got to train even more hardcore and keep on pushing. And last year it gave me again the confidence to just go for opening my academy online, create projects around women, connect with brands, and then just again, be able to share that feeling of using dance as like a way to connect even more to yourself as a person, but also with your body. And I thought, okay, let me just keep on doing this. And this year again, it got even bigger, it got even like more I really want to be doing this. And I'm actually currently working on another program, online program, but I also want to test it physically around self-confidence as well. And I tried it this week in Portugal and it worked really well. So I'm like, ooh, maybe I should just give a whole class about it, you know? Because for me, moving, dancing, and like the way dancing is really like a lifestyle. It's not just like about learning steps or grooves or whatever. Like if you come to my classes for the ego and the show, this is not the place you should be coming to. But if you want to really connect with yourself, with people, exchange, conversate, dare to be open and dare to be yourself, then yes, like arms wide open, you're gonna feel super, super welcome. Because yeah, this is how dance has helped me and is still helping me. And this is also how I want to be helping people out. So that's why I think like I'm trying to, yeah, mix both of them in the way I communicate on social media. Because for me, this is it. It's like I always find you know, some connections between both.
Have you actually experienced, I mean, in the dance scene, body shaming or like negative reactions or?
I did, but more like way back. When you focus on something you don't like about yourself, it feels like everybody sees it, because if you see it, then like the focus is gonna be on that. Um, but say somebody said something specifically about my body or anything, I didn't experience that. So and I'm very happy. Dancing has helped a lot in gaining confidence with myself, with my abilities, because it's like, you know what, fuck this shit. I'm a student. I'm gonna try a heels class. I'm gonna try for this jazz, modern, whatever. I'm gonna go for it. And we're gonna see, you know. There's no expectations. It's just more, I love moving my body. I love dancing. So whatever the challenge, I'm just gonna go head on, and we just enjoy the process, you know, not just like expect any result from it. Because I feel like now, and I used to be like that too, but I used to go like in a dance class telling myself, you know what, you need to nail the choreography, you need to learn the step, you need to let you to remember all of the steps, the grooves, the name of this and this and that. But at the end of the day, if you don't remember, then fine. I also want to make sure that, you know, people remember that it's also about like having fun, being challenged, and enjoying that struggle, you know. When you go to dance class for the first time alone, this is already like a fucking challenge. This is a fucking goal. So you need to be proud of yourself for just doing that. The rest is just like bonus. Even if it's a struggle, enjoy that struggle, you know. We need to stop going to dance classes and be like, oh, I need to learn this, or because it's too much pressure. Dance is really like, it should be fun.
How do you make your classes? How is it organized?
It really depends actually on the vibe of the class, because sometimes I always prepare my classes as like warm up, kind of like army shit. Then we go through the steps, grooves, or the kind of exercise that I want them to go through. Then we start kind of like a choreography. But sometimes it doesn't happen, and then we just drill, 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 either steps or grooves, so like mini combos of like 2x8 or 4x8. And then we just work either on like musicality, creativity, freestyle, levels and spaces, and all those different elements that are going to, you know, empower them to just do it by themselves, you know. Because it's always like, okay, but you learn a choreography, that's very good. And I'm not denying choreography, because I love them too. It's a challenge. It's also a different type of exercise. But doing only choreographies, I don't feel like it's really empowering, because for me it's always like, I give you the words and you make your own sentences. So it's like, we're going to give steps, but then we're going to do lots of different variations using levels, spacing, time, musicality, creativity, whatever. It's more like, try to find out with yourself, with your body, you know, because your body is different than mine. We're never going to be moving the same way, and that's the beauty of it. Because like, as much as I share something, and I don't feel like I'm teaching anything, but as long as I feel like I'm sharing something with you, I want you to be able to just use that your own way, and finding your own kind of like your own gem, and polishing the gem that you have here is way more important than you doing the same as I do, or you doing the same as like another student. In like, for example, when we do when we do choreographies and stuff, completely fine. But I always push them to just, feel the music. If I see my students not moving on the music before the choreography starts, I just stop the music. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you guys doing? Just vibe. The music is playing. Don't just wait for me to be like 5, 6, 7, 8, and then you go. No, no, no. You need to dance. It's a dance class. It's music. Just start moving. Get already in that vibe of like, I'm gonna feel the music and I'm gonna interpret the music. What I give is like a base, and what I want to see is also like how you interpret that base. I feel as inspired by you guys as you might be and might feel inspired by me. I love watching people dance. I love watching them do their own thing and then use their bodies and like discover that they're actually able to do that. This is, for me, that's super empowering for me as well, because it's like, yes, another person that is like starts to get to connect and then to scratch and be like, ooh, that feeling of like, I can do it, and I am freaking dope at doing this. For me, this is priceless. I don't care about the choreography at the end of the class. But if I see you smile, if I see you like, ooh, touching yourself and feeling yourself and everything, for me, I go home and I'm like, my job here is done. Because if you're able to do that in a dance class, you're going to be able to do that at work, with a friend, with your partner, with whatever situation that life throws at you. And yeah, for me, like, this is super important, empowering more than anything else. And at the end, after the choreography or like the vibes or whatever, I always say, keep on dancing. Don't just stop at the end of the choreo or the exercise and then you leave. No, keep on dancing, keep on feeling the music. Dancing is that, you just like, you listen to the music, you vibe, you do you. Okay, there's no, in any case, everybody's so fucking busy trying to understand what they're supposed to do with the steps and the choreos, that they don't have time to look at you or judge you, whatever. Nobody has time for this. And the same thing when I do groups, I always tell the other students, just look at them, hype them up. Hype them up first, because they need that. They need it. Sometimes you never know what people go through during a class. Sometimes they're like at the end of their lives and then like they already made that extra push to come to class. Hype them up, give them energy. You never know. And second, watch them, look at them, but like, look at how they move their bodies. Look, be inspired. Don't look at them like, oh my god, they're doing it better than I am, or stop with that comparison shit. You don't have time. Look at them and be like, oh yes, yes. It's like, oh putain, she's moving this way, like, oh, maybe I could use that for my dance as well. Be inspired. Just look, but without like, with the mind open, not like, oh my god, she's like, oh, it's so different than what I do. Of course it's going to be different than what you do. You have different bodies, you have different interpretation of the music. But like, look and feel inspired. Especially again, like with Afro dances, hip hop, and dance hall and everything. It's social dances. So get out there, share, connect, just dare to open up. It's 1 hour and a half. Just dare to open up. You have 1 hour and a half to make the most out of it. So in your mind, what are you going to tell yourself? Are you going to just close your mind and be like, oh, but people are looking at me, you stay small? Or you just like, fuck this shit, go out, be out, go big. Of course technique is here, but it's always going to be feelings first. If you don't feel it, you don't dance. It's like being a robot. It's just there's no point.
Have you actually experienced like challenges, or did you try any new style?
Yeah, heels. I heels classes, and I never wear heels. But it helps me work a lot on my posture, and this gives me even more confidence, because it's like you feel like you're even more of a queen. It's like, hey, let's go, woman. All of this is yours. Like, you need to emphasize, to cherish, to honor these attributes that you have, and it helps me a lot connect again with my body, like touch it and feel it and be like, allez, vas-y, go for it. It's because it's like, the soft side, I don't always explore it. Maybe because I'm scared of what's gonna come out of it, and also because I always see myself as the very independent human being that I am. I just do everything on my own. I don't give a shit. If somebody tells me like, no, it can be done, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it. If you tell me no, I'm gonna say yes. and I'm just going to find a way to make it happen, you know. And it's always been like this. And I know it's like a very, it's a character trait that I have from my mom and from all the experiences that we had with my brother and my mom, because my parents are divorced. So it's like, you know, we were, the three of us are like this. I've always been brought up to the word like, you can do whatever the fuck you want and always rely on yourself. So now asking help is very hard for me. So it's like considered as like my soft side and everything, because I'm always used to do everything on my own. And Afro for me is like, oh, it's, you know, aggressive. And I love footwork and Afro house the most because it's, this helps me just like, you know. But now going back a bit to dance hall and trying high heels as well helps me like, okay, chill. You cannot always be on the dynamic and explosive parts. We all have an explosive, a masculine and a more feminine energy. I'm trying to go towards that feminine energy. And also like feminine energy, that doesn't necessarily mean being like soft and stuff, la la la. You can still be like super strong and independent with your feminine energy. But for me right now, it's like exploring that soft side of me. And I realized that the soft side of me, I actually love it. You know, like what I do. And sometimes I look at my videos and I'm like, huh, okay, this is, yeah, this is actually pretty dope. You know, like this is nice to be like, mix it. Then, you know, it's like, go for it. So now I'm trying to lean a bit more into it. And you never stop learning. And I think that's good that all of us, you know, tap into different styles as well, that we don't just become, it's good to become a specialist. But it's also, at some point you're like, okay, you know that your body can move with that certain energy and whatever, but try to go outside, you know, try to. And I love combining like now Afro and dance hall. Like I'm trying to make a course out of it with a friend, and it's going to start in October. But we really want to, the first point of it was like to make the difference between those two styles, because people have the tendency to be like, yeah, well, dance hall and Afro are the same. I'm like, no, no, not at all. But also to explore me, the dance hall part of it, and her, the Afro dances as well. So it's like, you know, merging those two, not only do you find two different styles, two different interpretation, but also two different ways of moving your body. Maybe one is more aggressive than the other, and it's just like mixing those two, you also expand your dance vocabulary, but you also expand the way your body moves. And I think that's super interesting, and that's very necessary if you want to be, let's say, an all-round dancer, to just know how big your body can go, or how small your body can go, how, you know, controlling you can be, how big you can be. Like this is like your body, you can do whatever you want with your body. This is, you know, the sky's the limits. And I think we should definitely, you know, do more of these, let's say, collaboration, or like, you know, mixing. I don't know, what if we do like twerk and reggaeton or whatever, you know. But I think it's important that we do it, and it's also interesting. Like for example, there was one time I saw walking and Afro, and I was like, oh my god, yes. And I went to the workshop, and it was so fucking dope. And it's interesting because she's like, you know, it's just like poster wise, you're up with the walking, and you're like, ooh, 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 pa pa pa. And with the Afro, you're like more into the ground. You're like, you feel it and stuff. Like you're more, and then it just like, whoosh, you know, the fusion of it of them both was like so fucking beautiful. And I really really loved this class for their energy, but also for the fact that they fused those two styles, and for the way they brought it, the way they explained it, the way, like, everything was just perfect. So yeah, I think we should do more of that.
I get the sense that you like found your way or goal, but do you have any other like projects or any thoughts you have for the future
Yeah.
currently?
Well, very interesting, because I'm actually going through that phase. This whole year was a bit kind of like COVID made me think a lot with what I really want to do with dancing. I'll make it as like a lifestyle more than anything else. So for, you know, there's going to be like dancing, but with dancing you have also like nutrition, you have training, you have the more psychological aspect of it. So there's a lot of like different things that I'm trying to connect together, and just make sure that it all comes from dancing, you know. And this whole project around I am fierce and fearless, this is something that I really want to take further, to make sure that any bodies, you know, all bodies feel, and all people regardless of their background, their levels of dancing or whatever, feel comfortable in expressing themselves, and realize how fierce and fearless people are, you know. So I'm saying women, but like women in general. So not just like women, you know, as women, but all women. And yeah, it's a long term, but it's there. And the final biggest goal, of course, is to get my own space, my own dance school, to promote again the Afro and Afro descendant cultures. It's going to be Afro traditional, but also urban Afro dances and dance hall. I really want to focus on these two, let's say, disciplines, because this is where I recognize myself the most, and this is the dances that I connect with the most, and I want to make sure that people get their learning right, you know, and make sure that I have the right teachers as well. And yeah, I want it to be like the place to learn, but also the place to connect, to share, and have like that big community of people accepting each other, regardless of where they come from, and do that through dance. Because I feel like now everybody's doing their own thing, which is good, but there's so much we can do if we just, you know, combine forces and leave that ego on the side, and just, you know, like create more of like connections. Especially now with COVID, I feel like I need it personally. I need it, because I felt very lonely with COVID. I felt alone, and I felt like, you know, like, where this is just like I was really craving for more connection with people. And I had the opportunity to do the retreats in Portugal. I was teaching there, and I did another one in July where I was also teaching. And honestly, seeing people just like this, and they don't know each other, it was so fucking beautiful that I want to do this more, you know. I really want people to think more community than, oh, I'm alone in this, or like I'm flying solo. Whoever wants to do it, fine, but I think that we could just combining forces is going to be, more beautiful and more interesting on the long term.
And maybe a message to the people who are watching now.
I would say if you're thinking about dancing or joining a class, whether mine or anybody else's, think feelings first. Think really, you go there to feel. Okay, you dance to feel, you dance to connect, to share, to express, not to impress. It's really more of a, you know, connection and a heart thing than a brain thing. Also, whenever you take a class, just leave your brain outside. Yeah, try to understand, but don't go too much into the technicality of it, and make sure that your body moves. Just your body moves, just your body feel like expresses what your heart is feeling. So yeah, that would, I think that would only be my yeah, that would be my message to people if they're looking into dancing, regardless of their levels. Just, yeah, feelings first, and also enjoy the process. Even if you think that you're going to struggle, it's a challenge. You don't learn if it's not challenging. If you're not struggling, then it means it's not for you. You need to fucking struggle if you want to learn something, if you want to grow. There's going to be some struggle, so don't think that it's going to come easy, because you will need to put in the work. Even if you don't become a professional dancer, you will still need to put in the work. And third thing, I would say, don't give a fuck about people, really. If you are there in that moment, enjoying yourself and feeling the music and everything, don't worry, people are going to come to you. The connections are going to be made in a very natural and organic way. So really, feelings first. Get your ass to work. Yeah, enjoy the process and the struggle, and don't compare yourself to anyone. You are super unique already. Even if you didn't find it yet, you're going to find it. Make those steps, with everything, with dancing, with work, with whatever. Just try, just do, and you'll see that you're going to find so much about yourself that you didn't know, and you're going to feel so empowered. And then confidence is going to come on its own. So yeah, learning by doing, definitely.